Imagine being able to edit the entire video of yours inside geometry nodes. So I'll add a cut here. So Q for that, and D for that. And just by drawing a pen stroke on top, it does a pretty good job with figuring out what it is that is to be kept. A little bit of that green screen situation kind of thing happens, which is fine, because the only thing we're concerned about here is the fact that how little time and effort this took to make. Here's the thing, Premiere Pro and After Effects are both great softwares, but standalone. The moment I am required to use both the softwares together using the Adobe Dynamic Link, I feel like taking the entire Adobe suite and burning it down to ashes. Which is why I feel I need a roadmap to switch to DaVinci Resolve as my primary editing software. Because from what I've seen in the past 2 days and not just hearing YouTubers talk about it, DaVinci Resolve really has the capability of being it. Welcome back to In the Khud. This is 9th October 2023, 10:57 AM, and we're doing a quick documentation session here. So my editing work is like this right now. So full-time job is primarily motion graphic edits, which are done using Photoshop layers inside After Effects, so basic motion graphic stuff, and I bring the comp into a Premiere timeline at the end just for sound design or maybe some lumetri color correction. ITK vlog edit, the video you're watching right now, is that example where I'm just documenting whatever it is that I've learned. The edit for this is done right now inside Premiere because there is no need, neither the capacity to do like fancy After Effects stuff like rotoscoping and tracking and all that stuff. ITK cutout edits, if you haven't seen yet, you definitely should, but cutout is a series that I'm doing on this channel itself, which is my practice for highly polished and dynamic sort of edit content. And yesterday's video that I uploaded, episode 2, took way too long to do because I was doing so many back and forths between Premiere and After Effects and DaVinci, because I used DaVinci Resolve magic mask feature, which by the way I've bought the studio version for DaVinci Resolve. Anyway, I did the magic mask inside DaVinci and exported those as PNG sequences and brought them into After Effects to add stuff behind, and then that After Effects comp I brought into Premiere using my regular dynamic link. Even though if I want to do cutout as like once a week series, even then it shouldn't be such a pain to edit the video, right? DaVinci's Fusion page is extremely powerful because it makes use of nodes, a node-based approach to edit the entire video. It is somewhat like, because I'm so familiar with Blender and shader nodes and geometry nodes, imagine being able to edit the entire video of yours inside geometry nodes. You just make many node groups and then club them together to form your final dynamic edit. It is not exactly like that, but somewhat like that, because there is no system of layers inside DaVinci. It's all node based, which is beautiful. There's a little bit of documentation I have to do for DaVinci, which I have figured out in the past 2 days. So let me just fire up. The first thing you want to do inside DaVinci is selection follows playhead. So what I mean by that is, if I run this is the Fusion, this is the render page. Actually, this is a bit confusing, like all these pages underneath, I don't quite understand what. You see, when the playhead is going here, when the playhead comes here, that will be the selection, and that doesn't happen by default. You have to come into timeline and select selection follows playhead. Then what I'm used to doing is editing using Q and D. Let me just bring this here. So let's say I want to add a cut here. So Q for that, and D for that. So Q is adding an edit and D is a ripple delete. Inside your keyboard customization, razor is Q, like add, it's called inside Premiere, it's called add edit. I checked the keyboard shortcuts. Add edit is what is razor here. So put razor to Q inside DaVinci. Delete selected, that by default happens by backspace, which I don't quite like, so I said that would delete. So over here, and you firstly, it's not an edit preferences or anything, it is inside this word DaVinci, and here you want to go into keyboard customization, and this is a custom one working DaVinci. You have to fix a few things, but if I select D here, you will get ripple delete. You want to have this clip selected for magic mask and go into your Fusion tab. You can also do it in the color tab, but I want to be familiar with the Fusion tab more because that's what makes more sense to me instead of the color tab. Because when you do the magic mask in color tab here and you give it an alpha output here like this, I'm not quite sure how to reuse that in Fusion. That was one thing I'm confused about. So for nodes, a few shortcuts here. You want to hold down shift and click on this. That will remove these connections. Blender or any other node based system. You want to connect the media into media out. You can have two views here. So this is the first one, this is the second. And this dot thing you see here, the first and second, that's your output. So it's currently the second. If I click here, this will be the first monitor. If I have two enabled, otherwise it won't show. Okay, so first and second. So this is useful for rotoscoping a little bit. because I can't seem to find the overlay option inside the Fusion page. Anyway, you want to say control space. I think it's shift space by default. I switched it to control space because I'm used to After Effects is FX, console, MAGM, and add. Now again, it depends on which is the active node before you hit add. So if you select this and hit control space and magic mask, it'll add in between. You can also do it this way, where you do this and then you want to drag this in here. Just like Blender, it's not, unlike Blender, you can't just drag it and leave it here. You have to hold down shift and then the color of the node behind changes, and then you get the magic mask. Now I need to set this up in a way that there is this happening. So I'm going to take this out here, and I want to merge this because I need two outputs here. So when you take this from here and bring it here, it'll automatically bring a merge node. And so this merge node and this magic mask I'm going to keep on first, and this output on the second. Now, so here I'm going to keep, so magic mask I'm going to keep on first, magic mask I'm going to keep on second, and this I'm going to keep on first. So this is the media output. Okay, now here you see nothing with the magic mask. That's because the base mesh in geometry nodes, this base is not plugged in. Okay, now when you come in here, you're going to see this kind of a pen thing. If you don't see it, it's called qualifier. I don't know if there's an option to enable it here or not. There are so many options, I don't quite understand them. Inside the color tab here, you do have, see if this pen thing here, if you switch off, you won't see it. So you're going to come and tick the qualifier. We're going to keep magic mask on top. And just by drawing a pen stroke on top, it does a pretty good job with figuring out what it is that is to be kept. Okay, I'm going to also take my mic here, which is why I've kept the second here. A few more strokes, and that is it. You just need these few more strokes. Now because I have a beard and the hair there, I need to fiddle with the matte a little bit. So I'm going to come into matte here, increase the blur, okay, and reduce this until it almost makes sense, and you can play with threshold and gamma and stuff like that. I think here it's done a little much, so I'm going to keep it here and blur it a little more. This is good enough, I think. And now what you want to do is, actually you didn't want to do it this way, so I'm going to come into my tracking and clear strokes. I want to clear all strokes. What you want to do is you want to come to a frame where maximum of your stuff is in view, because what is happening here is, see, I'm sitting here like this, and there's some point my hands come in, right? So if I take this frame and then track forward, it's going to have a tough time figuring out where to do, what to do with the arms, because this is a more complex. You're going to start from here, like this frame for example, and over here I'm going to come in and draw my strokes here, draw a stroke here. Again, you just draw one stroke over the hand and it just understands that you want to take the hand into the picture. Draw one stroke here and it gets the hand, and draw one stroke here and gets this part. So we've pretty much gotten, I can alt click here, just make sure that things that you need don't get cut, something like that. And here, okay, once this is done, you want to track it reverse and forward from this frame. So I'm going to click this button, and here's where I feel that magic mask is really magic, because if you see, a little bit of that will happen there because that had also happened earlier. So if you see the entire rotoscope now, the points where the hand is coming in and everything is just perfectly rotoscoped it out, and all I've done is added like 3 or 4 pen strokes to it. And over here there's a bit of a problem, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here to the point where the problematic situation is starting, and over here I'm going to draw an alt stroke to remove this, and from this point on I'm going to track reverse. And I'm going to do this once again. So from this point on, you see that white color thing here, that means that there was a keyframe there. So from here I also want to track it, not completely forward but like one frame forward. See, I've done 1 frame and it went to the very end. There's seems like 1 frame here, which is a bit of a problem. You have your subject rotoscoped out. Now one important thing to keep in mind here is that The media out is what is going to show in your edit page. So right now in your edit page, even though we've done some things in Fusion, it's showing the original video. That's because the media out is that. So I'm gonna remove this merge here and shift remove this and shift add this here. So the media out is your magic mask situation. You can also come in here and cache to disk. So this will not like do the caching every single time. It's like bake cache in Blender. So you come into edit here. Now you see that it is rotoscoped out, and it's just that simple. So I'm going to drag my newspaper behind, and a little bit of that green screen situation kind of thing happens, which is fine, because the only thing we're concerned about here is the fact that how little time and effort this took to make, as compared to if I had to do this inside Premiere, take a linked composition in After Effects, rotoscope, and then bring it back. No, please. The only thing that I have to now learn is how, if I come into my Fusion tab, see right now I just drag the newspaper in, right? I don't want to be doing that. I want to be in my Fusion tab and do my entire edit inside the Fusion tab. So if I come out here and stick to one view, what I can do is I can come into the media pool here and drag the newspaper in here, so that's its own node. Okay, if I want to add that as a layer here, what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and drag in a merge node. Okay, and this merge we're going to connect here, but actually let me take this out, and we're going to drag this here, so we get merge 2. That's one layer, and then this I'm going to drag here, and so we can connect this over here. It's kind of like join geometry inside your geometry nodes. So that is here, and this merge 2, I think you put it here and then bring it on this green. Correct. So now we have the two things merging, and what I can do is I can click this merge and bring this size down, and right now it is in front of my this edit. What I can do is I can select these and say shift and bring this here. So the merge node is in front, and there's a little bit of overlap, but that's fine. If I select the merge node here now, I can move it to the side, so it's behind, and what I can do is I can keyframe the size. So let's say I keep this at like, let's say it takes 10 frames. I put a keyframe here, and I go to the beginning, and I make this 0. Okay. So like your linear pop is happening here. In the Fusion tab, I've messed up with the shortcut, so it's not like playing only. But anyway, this is happening. Now, two more things, last things I want to document is keyframes. This is not like your NLA. I wish it was like the NLA editor, but this basically allows you to take this merge one and you want to increase the time that it takes to move them. Oh yeah, you need to go underneath here, and now you get this to move it here and everywhere. So now this is taking a lot longer. And another thing was spline. This is like your graph editor. And how do I center things? There was, I think, a home value time. Yeah, you have to select this, and then you can select these and make it a curve, and then we can do our regular curve adjustments. Okay, so this is just like a sneak peek, almost like a preview of how the Fusion tab itself can be used to make my entire edit, like an entire dynamic edit, and that is what I'm going to be working primarily towards through this roadmap. Thank you so much for being in the CUD. I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.